Hello, so here I am at Humberside Airport and I thought we could do a flight to Cardiff and I would record this one so you could see how it goes. So it's as best as I can recreate real world procedures. So we'll zoom in and we'll see our plane and then we'll get going because I've created a flight plan. And there we go. It's the 737-800 version, which are longer than the old 737s. They've also got these winglets on the sides of the wing there to help with stability, and the quite obvious flat bottoms to the engines. The fan blades aren't actually flat at the bottom, obviously, because they spin round, but all the mechanics within the engine, such as fuel supply and pressure and so on, are all at the sides, and that gives them these flat bottom look. So that's that. So let's get into the plane, and we're completely shut off, and so I'm going to get it going with a bit of luck quite quickly. So I've switched the battery on there, and I'm going to use this little tablet on the side which enables me to put the ground power on. We'll open the doors and put the stairs. And I also have my flight plan in here, which actually no, I don't. One sec. Right, welcome back. Now I have my flight plan in there, so I'm going to have to be quite quick because it's 11:30 in. Is that real time? No. Yeah, that's Zulu time. So it's actually 12:30. So that's Greenwich Mean Time, which in summertime is an hour behind. Let's have a quick look. Charts. Oh, not Germany. Sim brief. EG. Here we go. Yeah, so we're scheduled to leave 11:43 from Humberside, so we've got 12 minutes to get this thing going. So let's put the ground power on, emergency exit lights arm, and see if I can do it. Get those aligning. Just setting up some lights because I like the instruments lit up, not necessarily a bright light in the cockpit. Right, our flight number 3347. EGNJ. GPS position, so the plane knows where it is, and the route is a predefined route from, that's the code for Humberside, EGFF is the code for Cardiff. And it is flight number, what did we say, 3347 by Ryanair. Activate. Airport EGNJ. So that's not happening. Fine. 3347. 33. Altitude off. Okay. Charts. Let's have a look what we're carrying. 187 passengers and only 100 kilos of cargo. Fine. Payload 187, so we're pretty full, if not full. We're completely full. A 100 kilos, we'll split it front and back. That's fine. And with that we'll begin the flight leg. Expecting to take off in a southwesterly direction, so the wind will be coming from there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are expecting a full flight today. Please do us a big favor, make sure once you make your way towards the back of the aircraft, look to your left and right. If you see an open seat, that's your seat. Once you find that seat that you like, please try to step out of that main aisle so that passengers behind you can get by. This will help expedite our departure and get us on our way.
59.8, okay. Trip 2.
Guys, the wheels on board.
2.3. Reserves 1.5, 2.5 is 2.5. Cost index 20, cruising at 28,000 feet. Winds, average wind 237 at 59, that's a strong headwind. Oops. Ice deviation +2. There we go. Depart and arrival. Runway 20. There is no SID. Okay. Plan. Legs. Waypoints. Does that say brig? Let's try. Okay, that's not what we want. Hang on. FN02. Usually there would be a departure plate to follow, but I guess Humberside doesn't have it because it's quite quiet, but that will do. initial. Takeoff flaps 5. The center of gravity .2, which gives us the V1, that's the reject speed. Any problems before that we stop, any problems after that speed, no matter what, we've got to go because there's not enough runway left to stop. Rotating at 137 knots, and the minimum climb speed is 146. So that's what we put in there. Let's put that back to map. And what else do we have? Trim 5.5, we will remember that. Okay. Put the logo on, and the wheel well on. And let's get the APU started, which is our onboard power unit. Once again, 21:43. No. Where are we? 11:43. So we're only 3 minutes away, so we're gonna have to finish this off real quick. I think we're fine there. Pressure we don't have, but we do have our alignment now, so let's go for 2986. Cruising at, did we say 28? We did. At the other end, we are expecting to come in on runway 30 via the Cardiff 1 Alpha approach. So depart, arrive. Runway 30 via the Cardiff 1 Alpha. Accept. Route. We'll finish the rest off when we're on the way. Our APU is on, so we'll get that on. Switch the fuel pumps on, the yaw damper, trim air, get the air conditioning on, and the bleeds on to enable that. We'll put the external lights on. Get the engine hydraulics on and the window heat switched on. And up here we will switch to winds, which we've got 231 at 10 knots, which is fine. Pop the progress on there, legs on there, and I think with that we're going to have to shut the doors because it's time to go. Get rid of the stairs, shut the doors, come back up here. Chimes, seatbelt signs on.
The captain has turned on the fastest seatbelt sign. Please recheck this.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready.
And we're ready.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
We're on time. Well, that was rushed, but we're on time. Put the altitude reporting on. And pop the anti-collision lights on to let planes know we're about to back out and the engines are about to start. At this point we will switch.
Flight attendants, prepare your doors for departure, please. Cross-check and all call.
Set the isolation to automatic. Shut off the packs to give us the pressure we need to start.
Give us a ring if you need anything.
Start the engines. There's no electric motor in the engines. We use air pressure to start the engines. That's why you hear the air conditioning switch off shortly before the engines start. It's using that air pressure to literally push the blades round to get them going. Whoops.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Oh, come on, connect, because we need to go. Our takeoff time's 53. Our gate push is 43, so it's 10 minutes for taxi, but I don't think we'll need that here. It's a small airport. And we don't have to taxi down the runway and turn around because we're taking off from this end, so let's have a quick look. 201.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brake off.
Starting pushback and you may start engines.
Copy that. 201, 201. 201, and let's start the right engine. Flight director's on. Spinning up. Fuel going in. So engine number 2, the right hand engine.
So in just a moment, we'll be showing you a brief presentation on the safety features. We kindly ask that you please direct your...
At number 2, successful start. The starters are off, starting engine number 1.
Welcome aboard, and thanks for flying with Delta. Our first priority on every flight is safety. So before we depart, I'll be giving a brief safety presentation. Okay, Michelle, Mary, and I have started security training in overhead bins. Smaller items.
Fuel going in. While we wait that, trim was 5.5. Let's get that set up. And what else? Flaps for takeoff, 5 degrees. Initial height, there is none, so 6,000 for now. Engines 1 and 2, successful start. Let's get the power supply from the engines now. With that, probe heat can come on.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Air conditioning packs can come back on.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Auxiliary power unit can come off and can come off completely. Set the engine ignition to continuous in case we have a failure on takeoff. They will automatically try to reignite. We set the reject auto brake RTO, so if we decide to cancel the takeoff for whatever reason, the spoilers and brakes will automatically come onto maximum. Come down here, yep. If we look on the charts,
Cell is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
we'll be taking off facing this way, so heading down. So we'll taxi along here, turn right onto Charlie, and then we're there. So he's gonna drive over there and then he's gonna show us our nose wheel pin that he's got, which means we can steer. He's holding it there in his hand. That allows us to steer, and he also gives us a thumbs up to say we are clear to taxi. So taxi light on, wheel light off, and with that, parking brakes off. Let's go. do a flight control check. Up, down, left, right. All looks good. Shut that back off. Helicopter. We're continuing left, I believe. Yeah. Are we still left? Ah, there's no way we can fit down there. Have to make a sharp turn and double back, I think.
Fasten the straps to the front of the vest and then adjust them loosely around your waist. As you leave the plane, inflate the vest by pulling down on the red tabs at the bottom of the vest. Or manually inflate it by blowing into the tubes at shoulder level. You can activate a light.
You can activate a light. Good to know, if you crash, you can activate a light.
Approaching 20.
That's the one that we want. Take the left turn here. We need that full runway.
On runway 020 feet remaining.
And as we're on the runway, we switch our traffic, collision and avoidance, landing lights, turn off lights and strobes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking off in just a few minutes. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for departure.
Let's open that door. A bit naughty, but you know, we can get away with it today. We can hear the announcements a bit better. So at this point, toggle the auto throttle on. As we line up with the runway. We can get rid of this for now. Set that up for Cardiff.
On runway 20.
So there we are, more or less in line. A little bit more to the left, I think. I think that needs to be 1 degree more to the right. There we go. Let's stop. Did that helicopter? Looks gone to me. Right, let's go. Engines stable, full power. Check.
V1, rotate.
We're going.
Positive rate.
Check. Gear up. And away we go. Lateral navigation.
1000.
Check. We'll go to VNav. So following the pink crosshairs now. Looking quite cloudy. This is real time weather, so a little hazy, but nothing too bad. Start retracting the flaps, 1 degree. And reset the altimeter pressure to standard because we are above 3,000 feet. There's our flaps up cue. Wheels in and off. Auto brakes are now off. I think at this point we'll switch the autopilot on. Runway turn off lights off, taxi light off, engines back to automatic. And release the cabin crew.
$1,000 to go.
Let's pretend we've been cleared up to our cruise now of 28,000 feet. So let's have a look at Cardiff. The elevation of the airfield at this end is 201 feet, that end is 210. So rounded up to the nearest 50 is 200 feet. That's to get the pressure in the cabin synchronized with the outside pressure for landing. Speed restriction is 250 knots until we pass 10,000 feet. And here's the route we'll be taking. See there we've got a T/C, that's where the autopilot thinks will be the top of our climb, which is 28,000 feet. Lowers the nose at 10,000 feet, there's our restriction gone, and the aircraft starts accelerating. Once we reach our speed that we're supposed to fly at.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we climb to our cruising altitude, we'd like to extend a special thank you to each of you,
10,000 feet,
and a welcome back to our SkyMile members and Million Milers. Your business and loyalty are greatly appreciated by the entire Delta family. For your safety, it's important to remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened anytime the seatbelt sign is on. Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience any unexpected rough air. We ask that you also please remember to use caution if opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during takeoff. We've now reached an altitude where it's safe to use approved electronic devices, and a listing of these devices can be found in Sky Magazine in the seat pocket in front of you. On today's flight in the economy cabin, it'll be our pleasure to offer you complimentary Coca-Cola products, Starbucks coffee, water, juices, a variety of complimentary snacks, as well as a selection of our fresh eats items and all-day goodies. Beer, wine, and spirits are available complimentary for our first class and Delta Comfort Plus passengers, as well as available for purchase for the main cabin. A complete listing of available beverages, as well as of our fresh eats items can be found in the menus in your seat pocket. Please be reminded that Delta accepts only major credit or debit cards for onboard purchases of beverages and snacks. However, you can use your Delta SkyMiles American Express card to save 15% and earn double miles on all Delta purchases. For your enjoyment, each seat is equipped with your own personal entertainment system. On it, you can view a selection of complimentary as well as on-demand TV shows, movies, and music. You will find that this screen will work best with just a light tap of your fingertip. Feel free to use your own headsets. Otherwise, if you do need a headset, just let a flight attendant know they are yours complimentary for this and any future Delta flights.
Just planning our route there for the runway, which is here at Cardiff. So we'll come down there and turn left, that's the plan. And I should have checked this at nearer 10, but I was busy, and we can see here that the cabin's beginning to pressurise. So in the cabin currently it feels like it's coming up to 6,000 feet, although we're at 17. No, sorry. Inside the cabin, so it's coming up to 3,000 feet. This outside here is the pressure differential, pounds per square inch on the whole airframe, so you can see that's starting to increase. And if I mess this pressurization setting up by putting in something wrong here, we'll actually pass out even though it's only a simulator. So it's a king. Opinion always comes when I'm doing something, never when I'm not. So you can see as we're climbing, we've got a wind from that direction 219, which is more or less where we're going at 40 knots. So as we turn left here, we'll be flying straight into it. But you can see our top of climb and there our top of descent is not all that far apart. Again, Humberside to Cardiff is not that far. Let's have a look outside. This could possibly be the M1 here. This road. Guess it will. In fact, there's one way to confirm it. Let's have a look here. Map. Rotherham. Why is that going for me? Don't know why I can't zoom in more. Indeed it was. Come on. M1. I can see it says it there. M1. Sheffield on our left, Rotherham, let's have a look, on our right. Rotherham area there, I guess. Where exactly is Sheffield? That's really annoying, is that used to work. Why can't I zoom in quickly? Anyway, so Sheffield, oh there we go. Sheffield on the left. Slightly ahead. Let's have a look that way. Ah, there's Sheffield. Okay. Bit high to see too much detail, but we're nearly at our top of climb. Should have set the timer going, I forgot to do that. Check that there wasn't anything else I forgot. No. We're already passing Sheffield. Guess the Pennines to the right then. We look. Yeah, there we are, the Pennines. Just about make up some hills and valleys with some water. Oh, zooming in, not working very well. Over there will be the sea. It's already the west coast, and between those Pennines and that sea, somewhere over there will be Manchester. In fact, that could be it over there, so it's quite clear up here today. Again, that's something else that's simulated, along with the weather, the visibility, definitely better. In fact, it will be
1,000 to
Manchester,
go.
because look, we're not that far. So 1,000 to go. 28,000 feet. Reaching the top of climb here. Really, these two should match up, but that's probably because we're going to level off just before we get to the top. That little bit, that'll probably account for that difference. So we're now at 28,000 feet, which is our cruising height. We're going to accelerate to 295 knots, which will be there. And that's our cruise, but you can see the top of descent's already there. But let's program in some information regarding our descent, because the winds are going to affect it quite a lot today, and we need to make sure we get this right. So these are all our waypoints in the wind, but we also have a height specific wind information here for our descent, which we can program in. So I think we'll have 3, 1, 2 and 1 descent forecast for 31,000 feet, 20,000 feet and 10 for 31,000 feet. Wow, that's a huge wind, 257 at 100. Oh. Let's see if that really is 100 knot headwind coming up. Mind you, that is at 31,000 feet, but we'll see. 20,000 feet, 247 at 68. And at 10,000 feet we have 247 at 35. Now when I press enter on there, because those are quite strong headwinds and we're flying into them, I'm going to guess it's going to push this green dot back a little bit, because as we're flying into headwind, we're obviously going to need less distance ground to travel. How am I better going to say this? We need to come down from 28,000 feet to the ground. If you imagine a plane flew at 100 miles an hour and it was flying into a 100 mile an hour wind, the plane relative to the ground wouldn't move at all. Obviously we're going a lot faster than 100 mile an hour and most of these winds are a lot less, so we are going to move, but it will reduce the distance over the ground. So let's see if I'm right. And indeed it did. It moved back. That's 14 miles, so I'm guessing from there to there it moved back about 5 miles, something like that. I don't believe that there's rain on the windscreen up here. And again, sometimes things go wrong, and there might be, so let's put the wipers on. And indeed there is some kind of thing, and by goodness is this game going a bit laggy at times. I wonder if there's a setting here though. Right. So estimated approach speed. QNH would be good to know. go. There's 30. So there we are, just coming in off the side of the map there. We're going to follow this route down, and then somewhere along, oh no, yeah, we'll be coming down this one, I think. Which one was it? We have Amral and Dobeb, or is it Talga? Amral, Dobeb. Right, so we're coming down here. I would say this cookies thing doesn't need to be... Alright, yeah, cookies, and then down here. Let's put KGF 13248, see if we've got some radio here. 13248. 13248. Yeah, so we're coming down. Oops. As planned here, so down this line and then to the left, down this line and then to the left. And if I zoom in a bit, once we get to this cookies waypoint, which is there, cookies, rather than fly direct over the airport, we're going to turn as we're coming down to the left a little bit and line up with the runway. So we'll be coming to this cookies waypoint and then probably fly something like this and then into the line here, and we can see we'll be coming from up here and then turning in. We can see there the runway heading is 298, so we need to set this up. So let's pop our course 298 aside. Switch back to the map view. Top of descent right there.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please recheck the security of your seatbelt.
So that gives them a minute or two before we start descent. So here we see some information, 298, frequency of the ILS there, 10.7. It says DME, so it also has distance measuring equipment built in. If not, we'd have to use something like this, but we have the distance measuring. So 29, hang on, what did we say it was? 10.7, so let's tune that in. ILS 10.7, 10.7. So they're now ready to work. That light's come on here, reset MCP, which is the master control panel here. We need to begin descent, so let's go down to 16, that's where it wants us anyway. So let's pretend that's what we've done. And here we go, beginning descent. let's, for a bit of fun, announce our descent.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. From the cockpit, starting a slow descent at this time. We would like to ask you to return to your seats, fasten up your seatbelts for the duration of the flight. Been a pleasure having you on board with us. Thanks for flying with Delta today. I can fly 10. Go ahead and prepare the cabin for our arrival, please.
Sounded distinctly non-Ryanair, but never mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our initial descent. At this time, we ask that you kindly begin to recheck the security of your seatbelt. And if you've removed any items from the overhead bins, please begin to refill them at this time. Please check out your seating area and the seat pocket in front of you for any cups, glasses, or
We
other
can
articles you wish
see
to decide.
here if we're higher or lower than we plan to be,
They make their way through the aisle.
that pink dot would move. And we are accelerating a little bit, which to me suggests that the winds were perhaps a bit less than we thought for this height. Let's have a look. So at 20,000 feet we're expecting 247. Well, we've already got 247 at 68 knots. And you can see it's already slightly less than that, even though we're still above 20,000 feet. So yeah, that forecast was definitely a few knots off, although the heading was accurate. But that means you can see it's making up for that by flying faster than we hoped, to add a bit of parasitic drag to try slow us down quicker. On board we still have 2.6 tons in each wing, none in the centre of the plane. Hop on the weather and there shouldn't be anything, but we'll have a look anyway. Doesn't look like it out the window. No, there's nothing on the radar, which is good, because if there was, we would have to avoid it. So let's think about how strong we need to apply the brakes. We'll have a look at the runway here, see how long. 7,700 feet, which is nearly 2.5 kilometers, so not the longest runway but not the shortest, so I'm gonna say I think auto brake 2 will be more than enough. Auto brake 1 might be a little too gentle. But everything else is going fine. I think for cookies we will amend be under 250 to say we want to be below 220 knots, and that's updated. That's fine. And it's saying what is the height limit actually at Cookie, because I want to be lower than that if I can. 3,900, so we will say 4,000. Actually, we'll increase that then. 230 or below, but we want to be at 4,000 feet. There we go. Still can't hear the weather for Cardiff, and in case there isn't any,
1,000 to go.
I'm gonna cheat and look here, and we can see winds. Yeah, we're flying into the wind, 16 knots, gusting 26. Visibility is greater than 10. Scattered clouds at 16, at 21, broken at 27. Importantly, temperature 16, pressure 1015, so let's get that set up. Descent, we should also have that in here. Alright, init ref. That was here. Forecast. /1015. And here we are at 16,000 feet. Speed is reducing. And we're going to continue then our descent onto 4. As the speed reduces, the bank limit can go back up to standard, which is 25 degrees. Altitude down to 4. Look here, fuel used 0.84 tons per engine. So I suspect, let's have a look here for our landing. Yeah, let's work out the landing speed. So if we go to progress page on the right, we can see by Cardiff we're expected to have 4.9 tons of fuel left. We currently have 5.2. So it's possible that we'll complete the flight having used exactly 2 tons. So 4.9, 5.2, which means we're going to lose 300 kilos between now and then. Currently our gross weight is 63.4 tons, so we're going to be about 63 tons by the time we land, which means for a flaps 30 landing speed of 146 knots, which we will use. In that goes ILS 10.7 at 298. We programmed in, yeah, 110.7, and we have 298 on the course. You can see here we're starting to get high. Let's get the level change going quick. So you can see with this instrument here, we're about 3,200 feet higher than we should be, and that's climbing 3,300. And you can see where we're wanting to be for 4,000 feet there. And how high does it want us at the beginning of our 2,200 for the next one? Okay. So they might as well pop that through to 2,200. Whatever happens, we're not going to be below 4,000 by that waypoint. I think we're going to go for 245. As this height here is increasing, I'm going to pop the air brakes on, which are these things. If I bring them in and out, and that's going to help us to lose height a bit quicker as well. If we actually will increase until we drop below 10,000. The higher we go with air brakes, the quicker we're gonna lose height and energy, and you can see there we're starting to catch up. We were quite a bit too high, but we've got to be careful we don't go past 250 knots below 10,000 feet, which is coming up real quick. Start reducing the speed now. 240 is a safe below there. So we're way too high at this point. As we come below 10,000 feet, the landing lights can come on, the turn-off lights can come on, engines can go back to continuous, everything else can stay as is. Taxi light will wait until we are clear to land. We still have the air brakes are still out, and we're still gaining height, so we might have to push out to the left a little bit. You know what, when I really learnt to fly, what they said was if you've got a problem, rather than sort of letting it go on and on, get it sorted as soon as possible. So what I'm going to do is follow that advice, go 160 and come off our predefined route and turn left, just as if air traffic controllers turned us to go left. We're going to go into a heading of 160, which I've popped in there. You can see that's really helping us to catch back up with our height as we add that extra distance on. Should add a fix, by the way. EGFF, and was it runway 20? What was it? Let's look at that. Oh, it's 30, I think. Is that right? No. EGFF/30. Is that right? Let's find out. My 30, forgot. Let me do that. EGFF. I always thought it was EGFF. Right, well, EGFF then. Distance, put 5. And put another ring round at 9 miles. And so that'll be the flaps with gear and flaps full there. See, it's drawn the rings on when I want that to happen. The altitude is catching up quite quickly, so I think at this point we can turn right again to begin intercepting with where we should be. Yeah, that's coming up real quick, and we can't descend much more, so I think speed brakes in. Zoom in again. Southern Wales here. Oops. And water all around us. Guess that's the UK again over there. If we put the terrain radar on, does that give us anything to look at? Guess this is more used for mountains, but it's possible we might see something. Not really, it's just showing us very low lying terrain. Turn right now, getting ready to intercept 210. Slow down to 200 knots. When the engines are idle, this button here lets us choose the speed by pitching the plane up and down. That's how it controls the speed. And if we add a bit of power, it'll still control the pitch of the plane to keep this speed. Obviously, the more power we add, the slower downhill it will go. But as we're needing to descend, I don't need to add any power on at the minute. So the runway, we need to do about a 90-degree right turn here, and we need to be 2,200 feet by this point here, where that pink line intersects this line, 2,200. And you can see we're nearly there. Flaps 1. Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Lieutenants, please prepare the cab for arrival.
So here we are. So we're going to swing right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the double ding indicates that the aircraft is now on its final approach.
And keep that on.
At this time, all passengers must remain seated with their seatbelts secured as fastest. Your tray tables and
Altimeter on 015, which is what we were told. I will just check that that is still the case. Refresh. It's now increased by 1 to 16. Our minimums, we should have put this in. It's probably going to be 200 feet, but just in case. Decision height
2,500.
413 above sea level, 200 above the runway. So 200 going in. Oops, not 3. There we go. Let's turn to intercept. 260. Press the approach button. Localize is alive. Let's reduce speed to 190. We just overshot the runway by a couple of degrees there, so it's going to correct a bit back to the right. And when this pink dot here comes to the middle, we'll start our descent from 2,200. By the way, what is the missed approach? Information, climb straight ahead to 3,000 feet. Let's put that in 3,000 for when we miss. If we miss, which we won't, we're inside the first circle and the altitude glide slope is about to capture, and up there you can see the runway. Let's arm the spoilers. Speed brakes are set at 1. Let's go flap 5. Speed 170. And we'll take over for landing, so we're not gonna bother with dual autopilot for this. By that ring we should be configured, so let's get on with it. Gear down, flap 15 and 60, and we said our approach speed at flaps 30 was 146 knots. Flap 25 and flap for approach 146. We'll add 3 knots onto that due to the... In fact, we should add a little more, because look at that headwind. I think we'll add 5 knots on for that. So there we are, we're within that ring, we're fully established, and at this point we're going to assume we've been cleared to land. So with that, taxi light goes on, which is the nose wheel light. That's how we remind ourselves we've been cleared to land. So I think we're all set. So gears down, green, flaps 30, auto brake on, all the lights are on, engines are in continuous, the spoilers, the speed brakes are armed, everything's intercepted.
Approaching 30.
And 30 is the runway we're supposed to land on. We're on the crosshairs, we're stabilised. With that, I'm going to take control now. Autopilot disconnect. I'm going to take over the engines. Auto throttle disconnect. I'm going to come slightly above the VREF. Again, due to the winds being quite high and that they might suddenly drop off as we get lower.
500. 400. Approaching minimums. 200 minimums.
Continue.
100.
Start reducing power.
50. 40.
I'm gonna leave it there.
20. 10.
10 feet.
5,000 feet remaining.
Reverses on. A mid-power reverse, using the rudder to keep it straight. 80 knots. Reverses to idle. 60 knots. The reverses can come off. Manual braking at this point.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened
Bring the
until the
flaps
captain
back
has
in.
parked the aircraft at the gate and turned off the seatbelt sign. This will be your one and only indication that it's safe for you to get up and move about the cabin. Please be reminded to use caution when opening the overhead bins to prevent injury from articles that may have shifted during landing. You may now use your mobile phones and other handheld electronic devices while we taxi to the gate. However, your laptop computers and larger electronics must remain stowed. We invite you to visit delta.com for all your future travel needs, including checking in for a flight and managing your SkyMiles account. If any of you should have questions regarding ground transportation, baggage claim, or any other information, a uniformed Delta agent meeting this flight will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
And the traffic
On
avoidance
behalf of Delta Sky Team, our global
collision
partners,
system
and
come
especially
off.
your flight crew, we'd like to thank you all for flying with us. We've enjoyed having you on board and look forward
Flaps
to
are
the
back
opportunity
in,
to serve
speed
you once
brakes
again.
are in, so we're cleaned up. At this point the APU can start up. And we don't need runway turn-off lights because it's quite bright. The wing light and wheel well can come on. Autopilot disconnect.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Yeah, that comes with the wing lights. Flight directors. I like to turn them on because when you're on the ground, show you which one the wing lights are. It's not these ones on the end of the wing actually, it's these ones here. There's like a light there and there that shines at the wing, and I just think for people on the ground it helps them see. Now this plane here, I've recently bought that one, the so-called Dreamliner. So let's have a look on our taxi chart here. See, we're coming along. Maintenance area, maintenance. Yes, we'll go here. Taxiing quite fast. Couple of knots over the 20 knot limit, but who's gonna... Looks like the APU's started. I can see the heat coming out the back of the plane, and indeed it has. Let's put the power onto the APU. Oh yeah, we really are going a little bit too quick. Pump the brakes a little bit, 20 knots. We've got to wait for 1 minute before we can put the packs on the APU, which should be as we pull into the gate. So here as we pull in, I'm going to turn the taxi light off. get an outside view. Pulling right up to the gate about there. So back inside. So here, stand on my both brakes. I can then pull the parking brake on. Said the APU is been on for a minute, so we'll get the bleeds. That's for the air conditioning. We'll open that up. The wing light, anti-collision light, logo can stay on, and at this point we will shut down engines 2 and engines 1.
Flight attendants, prepare doors for arrival, please. Cross-check and all call.
Transponder and seatbelt signs off, and with that the probe heats and the window heat can come off. Fuel pumps can be switched off. Yaw damper off. Ground services set the chocks. GPU connect. Doors open. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend the stairs with the ground power, with the ground plug plugged in. We can enable that, and with that, engine things, the engine hydraulics can come off. The APU can be switched off. We can take an outside view. You can see there the chock's been placed in front and behind the wheels. We have an external power unit here, which plugged into the plane is providing us our power while we are on the ground, so we don't need to keep things running. Of course, that's going to set lights, and with that we terminate the flight leg, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, because that is the end. And obviously, let's just round this off. So the trim air off, turn the IRSs off, logo off, wheel well off, anything left down here, off, 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 off. Well, the only thing left to do is shut things off here. So we turn the ground power off, emergency exit light off, and last but not least, the battery off. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah, you shut that cover and that comes on. There we go. And now we're completely cold and dark like we started. The only thing powered is our little iPad tablet thing. So that's it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it.